Hello and welcome. You're watching the news tonight, your daily roundup of all that has happened in India and around the world. I'm Ishan Russell, and our special focus tonight is on Russian President Vladimir Putin's India visit and what can we expect. But first up, a look at the headlines we're tracking right now. In the third phase of assembly elections, voters defy terror attacks, record 58% polling in Jammu and Kashmir. The turnout is 61% in Jharkhand. The opposition criticizes Sushma's suggestion to declare Gita a national book. Members call it designed to alter secular character of the constitution. Excise duty hike on petrol and diesel fuels debate in the Rajya Sabha. Finance Minister defends the government's step to mop up resources. All set for Russian President Vladimir Putin's visit for the 15th India-Russia summit. Both sides likely to sign 20 agreements. The Hong Kong High Court sets deadline for demonstrators, gives them till Tuesday to clear out of protest sites. Well, our special story, in fact, the big focus tonight is on the 16 constituencies of Jammu and Kashmir and the 17 assembly segments in Jharkhand that went to the polls today in the third of the five-stage assembly elections. Now, voting was peaceful everywhere. Jharkhand kept up with its 60% plus turnout again, while 58% voting was recorded in Jammu and Kashmir. Commendable considering many areas voted in the shadow of terror that struck the valleys just days ago.
The overall percentage in the entire phase 3 comprising these 16 assembly constituency, so far we have recorded 58%, which was 52.13% in the year 2008 assembly elections.
Another strong reply from Jammu and Kashmir. The turnout stood out more this time as an answer to militant strikes in the state on the 5th of December. Residents of areas under the direct shadow of terror 4 days back, Uri in Baramulla, Tral in Pulwama and others, stood with a belief in democracy to cure their problems.
बुनियादी बात यह है कि वोट जो है हमारा हक है, वोट एक अमानत है, ताकि एक अच्छा नुमाइंदा हम चुने और अच्छा नुमाइंदा चुन के वो हमारे जितने भी यहाँ के हमारे इस इलाके के जितने भी काम है, अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट है या दूसरे जो तरक्याती काम हैं उनमें हमारे मदद करे।
हम चाहते हैं यहाँ पे एक मुकम्मल और अच्छी हुकूमत बने रियासत जम्मू कश्मीर के अंदर, जिसके लिए हम जोग दर जोग आके यहाँ पे, और हम चाहते हैं कि इस बार जो है कि कोलिशन के बगैर ही जो है कि सिंगल मेजॉरिटी में कोई हुकूमत आए जो हमारे काम करे।
Of the 144 candidates in the 16 seats whose fate is now sealed in EVMs, there's Chief Minister Omar Abdullah in Birwa. 3 of his cabinet ministers and 10 other sitting MLAs were also in the fray in this phase. This round is also crucial for the PDP that holds 9 of the 16 seats. In Jharkhand, it was brisk polling again in the 17 assembly segments that went to polls.
For the first, second and third phase, till now it is 63.1%. The first phase was 63.18, second phase was 66.98, and this phase till now it is 61, which may go 1 or 2% higher.
14 of the segments are designated Maoist-affected areas. This time again in the state, despite the boycott call, the voter remained focused on a democratic way to resolve long outstanding everyday issues.
वोट बदलाव चाहते हैं, सब चीज़ का सुविधा होना चाहिए।
झारखंड का ये जितना पीछे है या जितना संपदा यहाँ है, इसका सारा लाभ यहाँ के गरीबों को मिले, यहाँ के पब्लिक को मिले।
289 candidates are contesting for 17 seats overall that went to polls in the third phase. 8 sitting MLAs are seeking re-election in this phase. After this phase, 49 out of 87 segments of Jammu and Kashmir and 50 out of 81 segments of Jharkhand have now voted towards formation of the next assembly. The states go to polls in the fourth and penultimate phase on the 14th of December. Overall counting will be held on the 23rd of this month. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
Shifting focus to Parliament now, where another statement from outside Parliament created furor within its precincts. This time it was External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj who drew flack in the Rajya Sabha for over her demand to make the Bhagavad Gita the national scripture. The opposition members alleged that the government was trying to alter the secular character of the Indian constitution.
Raising the issue during 0 hour, CPI leader D. Rajya objected to Sushma Swaraj's remarks. He asserted that the imposition of any single holy book as a national book will smear the fabric of India.
You cannot impose one scripture as the national book, as national scripture. And in this, I do not see it as an isolated statement. There is a sinister design to subvert the secular fabric of our nation and subvert the secular character of our constitution.
Congress leader Digvijay Singh condemned Swaraj's statement, while Sitaram Yechuri of CPM insisted that the holy book for India will always be its constitution.
Constitution gives right of equality
That is
to people of all religions. Everybody can have their books. Everybody can respect their books and be devoted
That's
to that.
okay.
The government quickly took up the foreign minister's defense.
भागवत गीता कोई धर्म ग्रंथ नहीं है, कर्म ग्रंथ है। तरह की मानसिकता
This is not a time.
वो देश के
No, that's okay. No discussion. Sri Ali Anwar Ansari.
इसलिए
I am not allowing anybody.
पूरे देश को गर्व है।
The government also came under fire for its proposal to replace German with Sanskrit in the mid-academic year in Kendriya Vidyalayas.
This is totally against the three-language formula which was devised in the Chief Minister's Conference being held during 1961. But as per our constitution, Sanskrit is one of the national language which is included in the 8th schedule.
The upper house also witnessed concerns over the fire that gutted the Delhi church under mysterious circumstances last week. The TMC alleged that Christians were being targeted in the country. Responding on the issue, Home Minister Rajnath Singh said he took up the incident with Delhi Lieutenant Governor Najib Jung. Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
And staying with news from Parliament, the opposition today accused the government of depriving the consumers of a chance to benefit from the fall in international crude oil prices. Raising the issue in the Rajya Sabha, left parties demanded total decontrol of petrol and diesel. They said the move will prevent the government from using duties to manipulate changes in petrol prices.
With global crude oil prices at a 5-year low, the left blamed the government for filling its coffers at the expense of the consumers.
Decontrol should be there. Petrol should be given for 45 rupees per litre. Diesel should be given for 40 rupees per litre. That is the international prices.
Implement the decontrol. The price should be what he said, 45 for petrol and 35 for diesel. But you are not doing it. Instead, you are garnering revenue.
Finance Minister Arun Jaitley defended the government's decision while reminding members that the government also finances subsidies.
7 times we have reduced the price of petrol. Please don't forget that.
But
if he wants total decontrol, if he wants total decontrol, please understand the consequences of this.
Crude prices fell to $67 per barrel, but Indians aren't enjoying corresponding savings on their fuel bills. With the government raising excise duty on 12th November and 2nd December, retail prices of petrol and diesel haven't kept pace with plummeting crude prices. The duty hike is expected to fetch the government 6,000 crore and 4,500 crore respectively. The government maintains that this will contain budget deficit. Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, an important bill aimed at bringing about more transparency and stability to the Indian financial market was passed in the Lok Sabha today. The Payment and Settlement Bill will bring the regulation laws of the country on par with international standards.
The Payment and Settlement Systems Amendment Bill 2014 was passed in Lok Sabha today by unanimous vote. Replying to the debate on the bill, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley clarified that India was under no pressure from G20 countries to bring in these changes. But he also said that in today's day and age, it was important to follow international norms.
We can't afford to live an isolationist existence. We can't provide a banking system which is inconsistent or a financial system which is inconsistent with global standards. So 2008, 2009, 2010, and the finalization of those standards with regard to these service providers, which was finally decided in 2012 when the UPA was in power. And I find nothing wrong with it because that is how the entire financial system has to evolve. Otherwise, if we have an obsolete financial system, the world will not trust us to the level at which the world should.
During the debate, MPs of the Trinamool Congress and Biju Janata Dal had urged the finance minister not to succumb to any kind of pressure. Both parties supported the bill.
The finance minister in a hurry to pass the bill. He has stated in the objection reasons that the G20 countries feel that the system should be introduced in this country.
This act is indeed a very positive legislation for the smooth conduct of the payment system, as it recognizes the concept of netting, gives finality of settlement to the transactions.
The finance minister said that after these amendments, the process of payments and settlements would become more transparent. With inputs from Shyam Sundar and Pranab Goswami, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, the Bharatiya Janata Party could bring a censure motion against TMC MP Kailash Banerjee in the Lok Sabha. During 0 hour, BJP MP SS Ahluwalia demanded an apology from the TMC MP for using derogatory language against the Prime Minister.
The ruling BJP is mulling bringing in a censure motion against Trinamool Congress MP Kailash Banerjee. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Venkaiah Naidu iterated that if Banerjee does not apologize for using unparliamentary language against Prime Minister Narendra Modi and former Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri, then the BJP will have no choice but to do so.
It will be better in the interest of that party and that honorable member to raise and express unconditional apology so that the image and prestige of the house will go up. और प्रस्ताव पारित करके किसी को बाहर करना ये नहीं है, आसान है, कर सकता हूं मैं, मगर मैं चाहता हूं खुद वो संसद और जो लोग अन्य लोग भी ऐसा भाषा प्रयोग कर रहे हैं वो लोग अपना पश्चाताप व्यक्त करें.
Speech outside the house, being a member, doesn't attract any censure motion. It is only restricted to the Council of Ministers.
The matter was raised by BJP MP SS Ahluwalia. He found support from CPIM MP Mohammad Salim, who said that the chair must take strict action in such cases.
जब भी कोई सदस्य उनका कंडक्ट मिसकंडक्ट जब अनबिकमिंग ऑफ अ मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट होता है तो या तो स्पीकर की तरफ से इसे रिप्रिमेंड किया जाता है, नहीं तो सदन के जो नेता होते हैं, नहीं तो जो हमारे संसदीय कार्य मंत्री होते हैं वो एक प्रस्ताव ले आते हैं और ये लंबित रहता है तो दुस्साहस बढ़ जाती है.
The speaker also advised the TMC MP to apologize if he felt he was in the wrong.
माफी अपने आप में मांगी जाती है. अगर अपना मन करे कि मैंने कुछ गलती करी तो सुधार की तरफ जा सकते हैं.
Only last week, Minister of State for Food Processing Niranjan Jyoti had to apologize in Parliament for the use of derogatory language at a rally in Delhi. With inputs from Shyam Sundar and Pranab Goswami, Bureau Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, time now for a very quick break, but coming up on the other side, security has been stepped up at US facilities around the world ahead of a crucial CIA report. What's that? We'll tell you on the other side. Welcome back. You're with Rajya Sabha TV and this is the news tonight. Now, Russian President Vladimir Putin will arrive in India on Wednesday for the 15th annual India-Russia summit. Putin will be accompanied by a 15-member business delegation. Initially, he was to address a joint session of parliament, but that now stands cancelled due to scheduling issues. But ties are expected to get an impetus, with the two countries expected to sign around 20 agreements during this visit.
The 15th annual India-Russia summit will begin in Delhi on December 10th. Russian President Vladimir Putin will attend the summit. Even though Modi and Putin have met earlier, but this is the first time structured bilateral talks will be held between the two leaders. Various issues related to different sectors and some important deals are expected to be penned to foster key trade and defense ties.
तकरीबन 20 समझौते होंगे. हमारे जिंदगी के भिन्न सब क्षेत्रों से संबंधित समझौते होंगे.
सर, कुछ नई न्यूक्लियर साइट्स पे भी आप लोग प्रपोजल दे रहे हैं?
हम इंतजार कर रहे हैं एक न्यूक्लियर साइट का नाम.
There have been concerns recently about the bilateral ties between the two countries. India's growing proximity to the United States and Russia increasingly doing business with Pakistan could be sore points, but Moscow thinks otherwise.
रूस भारत का एक स्ट्रेटेजिक अलाई होके कुछ भी ऐसा कदम कभी नहीं उठाएगा जो भारत को हार्म दे सकता है। हमारे जो रणनीतिक सहयोग है वो बिल्कुल अलग चीज़ है और वो आपके दूसरे देशों से संबंध से आभार नहीं है।
Russia has also agreed to India's request to expand the number of nuclear energy units it is supposed to construct in the country to 20 to 24 from the initial 14 to 16 units. India had made the request based on its growing energy demand. On Thursday, Putin will be in Mumbai for the World Diamond Conference. The Indian gemstone industry is hoping to add some sparkle to Indo-Russian ties by persuading Russia to increase its exports of diamonds direct to the global hub of cutting and polishing. Bureau Report, Rajya TV.
All right, to shed more light on what we can expect from this visit, we are joined by Mr. Shiv Shankar Mukherjee. He's a former ambassador and, of course, a career diplomat who has served across the world. Thank you very much for coming in, Ambassador Mukherjee. As far as both these countries are concerned, India and Russia, given, I mean, as our story also said, India has been moving closer to the US and Russia has been doing increasingly business with Pakistan. This meeting does become very important given that India also has a new government.
Well, yes, it is an extremely important visit, and not just because of the reasons that you just mentioned about our relationship getting increasingly more positive and full of substance with the United States and so on. I think Russian overtures to Pakistan in the defense sector, the larger picture is much, much more important than that. The Soviet Union has been our most important strategic partner right from our independence for a long, long time. And even after the breakup of the Soviet Union, our relationship with Russia remains one of the fundamental pillars of our foreign policy and should continue to be so. So the visit of President Putin is extremely important. I'm sure it will be highly visible and that it will is the first summit-level meeting between our Prime Minister, who has just taken over a few months ago, and President Putin. They've met on the sidelines of the BRICS meeting as well as the G20, but this will be the first summit meeting. It will be an occasion for exchanges of views at the highest level. It will be an opportunity for us to discuss frankly with our long-term friend about any reservations we had or any concerns we have about Russia's defense sector sales to Pakistan. After all, we, America sells all. I mean, the Pakistani armament, the entire armament thing is virtually completely American, and this belongs to India as well. There are other things like the sale of the.
Yeah, Ambassador Mukherjee, in fact, you were mentioning armament sales, etc.
I was saying that the sale of the fighter.
Sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the 20 agreements that are being said to be signed between India and Russia, some of them are especially supposed to give a lot of impetus to the defense cooperation that the two countries have. And also, as far as nuclear power is concerned, we're trying to ask Russia to set up more reactors. I think the number's gone up to about 24. So these two perhaps critical areas where the two sides can work together?
Certainly. Till recently, and even now, the Soviet Union initially and Russia, even after that, was our largest supplier of defense equipment by far. And even in recent years, when India, for very good reasons, decided to diversify its arms purchases from abroad, so as, well, to put it simply, not to put all its eggs in one basket and to seek the best technology under the best terms that we could get. Even today, for instance, the Indian Navy is virtually completely Soviet, except for what we do indigenously, is Soviet produced and Soviet armed, including our other armed forces. So the defense sector stands, I think, the most critical sector in terms of Indo-Russian collaboration. And energy is, of course, the subject of the day. And Russia is in the realm of nuclear energy as well as which may not be as important to us in terms of distance, but it is probably the most resource-rich country and experienced country in the energy sector. So these two areas that you identified are certainly going to be among the most critical subjects to be discussed and collaborations worked out.
Right, Ambassador Mukherjee, we leave it at that. Thank you very much for coming and shedding light on the ties of India and Russia and how they could be impacted by President Vladimir Putin's visit that begins tomorrow. Thank you very much for coming in. Well, let's move on now. Both India and Pakistan are celebrating together as Kailash Satyarthi and Malala Yousafzai share the Nobel Peace Prize. The coveted prize will be presented in Norway's capital, Oslo. Both activists were all praised for each other at a press conference today. Satyarthi, though, said freedom is a matter of right for all children across the world.
India and Pakistan might be facing off on the border. But on Wednesday, two of their citizens will share the stage to accept a global honor. Indian child rights activist Kailash Satyarthi and Pakistan's Malala Yousafzai will receive this year's Nobel Prize for Peace. Both will receive the $1.1 million Peace Prize at Oslo in Norway. They dedicated the most coveted prize to all children across the world.
This is very important for millions and millions of our children who are denied their childhood, who are denied their freedom, who are denied their education and health. This is a great honor for all of them.
We are like any other country, like countries do have borders, but it does not mean that they should then hate each other. So if the Prime Minister would have come here, I would have been very happy, and I would have thought of it as a big opportunity to ask them to have good relationships.
Kailash Satyarthi and his family reached Oslo on Monday. He was all in praise for the 17-year-old Pakistani child rights activist Malala Yousafzai. Malala also reciprocated, saying Satyarthi is like a father figure for her. Apart from Kailash Satyarthi and Malala, 11 others will be presented Nobel Prize for Excellence in various fields in Sweden's capital Stockholm and Norwegian capital Oslo. The Nobel Prize winners of literature, medicine, chemistry, physics and economy attended the traditional Nobel concert in Stockholm on Monday evening. Now all eyes will be on Satyarthi and Malala Yousafzai as they bring both Pakistan and India together, at least for a while, to share a prize. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, security has been stepped up at US facilities around the world ahead of a report detailing the CIA program on Al-Qaeda. The report could stir up a hornet's nest as it is expected to make conclusions saying the interrogations failed to deliver appropriate results, leading to possible volatile outcomes.
US facilities around the world are on high alert. Ahead of the release of the congressional report on the CIA program launched under President George W. Bush after the September 11 terrorist attacks. The report is expected to reveal details of the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques. The publication of the report has been long delayed amid disagreements over what parts should be made public. The methods were authorized by then US President George W. Bush.
In the war on terror, intelligence is one of the most crucial tools for our defense. If a captured terrorist has information about a plot against our homeland, we need to know what he knows.
There are some indications that the release of the report could lead to a greater risk that is posed to U.S. facilities and individuals all around the world. So the administration has taken the prudent steps to ensure that the proper security precautions are in place at U.S. facilities around the globe.
The full 6,000-page report remains classified, but the 480-page summary could bring to light new ugly details of controversial methods used by CIA operatives. The CIA's campaign against Al-Qaeda is believed to have used methods more brutal than previously admitted, like waterboarding, slapping, humiliation, exposure to cold and sleep deprivation. Leaks about the report first emerged in August, prompting Obama to declare that the measures amounted to torture. Obama halted the interrogation program when he took office in 2009, but White House has been supportive of the release in principle.
The President believes that on principle, it's important to release that report so that people around the world and people here at home understand exactly what transpired.
The committee's conclusion could lead to a worldwide outcry, strengthening the view that the harsh tactics didn't produce a single critical breakthrough. Bureau Report, Sabha TV.
Right now, the Hong Kong High Court has ordered protest sites that have choked this financial city for the past 2 months to be cleared. The police have given pro-democracy activists time till Thursday to evacuate the spots. Workers are expected to carry out the clearance operation starting 9 a.m. Thursday. Police said anyone who refuses to leave or obstructs officers will be arrested. The student-led protesters had been occupying 3 protest sites to press their demands for greater democracy. Another protest site in the Mong Kok neighborhood was shut down late last month by authorities, enforcing a separate court order. The Supreme Court on Tuesday insisted that action must be taken up against suspended BCCI chairman N. Srinivasan's son-in-law Gurunath Mayappan in the IPL spot-fixing case. The court also decided to appoint a 2-member committee of retired judges that will look into this matter. The Apex Court also gave 4 suggestions to Srinivasan if he and the cricket board did want the court to issue adverse orders. The options that the court gave include withdrawal of N. Srinivasan from BCCI, a new committee to take action against those named by the Mudgal panel, asking the BCCI Governing Council to take action, or allowing the Mudgal panel to take action.
हमने अपनी रिपोर्ट दे दी है, उसके बाद कोर्ट उसके ऊपर ऑर्डर करेगा. अगर हमें आदेश देगा तो हम करेंगे काम.
When the court constitute a Mudgal committee, and in his committee, if commission finds something wrong and his own son-in-law is involved in betting, then it is up to moral duty of president of BCCI to how can he continue the position in BCCI president if his son-in-law is involved in betting and other illegal things.
Well, here's all the other sports news and updates. This is Sports Beat. On the first day of the first test between India and Australia in Adelaide, players and spectators started by paying tributes to Phillip Hughes. They clapped for 63 seconds, marking the 63 runs Hughes put on board before he suffered a fatal blow to his head. On the first day of the test, Australia scored 354 runs, losing 6 wickets. David Warner made 145 runs and dedicated his ton to Hughes. Post captain Michael Clarke left the match midway for injections to his lower back after retiring hurt. Australian pace bowler Sean Abbott has returned to the field for the first time since the on-field mishap that resulted in the death of Phillip Hughes. Abbott claimed 2 wickets for New South Wales against Queensland. Sri Lanka's Sachitra Senanayake and New Zealand's Kane Williamson have both been cleared of the charge of illegal bowling actions. Both off-spinners can now resume bowling in international cricket. The pair was banned earlier this year after their bowling action was found to go beyond the 15 degrees of elbow extension permitted under ICC regulations. Well, that's the news tonight. Good night.